that you're holding on to as you has nothing to do with you. You're holding on to it out of habit. It is something that you have become used to. Now, if I were to tell you, you can actually see without your eyes, would you believe? You'll say, of course not. There is no way I can see without my eyes. But you do it every day. Just close your eyes and try not to see. You will see how impossible it is for you not to see. Your eyes are useless in seeing. You can close your eyes and see colors, see shapes. You can see the entire world that is on the outside, on the inside. And yet, you simply call this dreaming and forget the fact that you can actually see without your eyes. Same, you can walk without your legs. You do it all the time. You swim without your arms. There is a world inside you where you do all the things that you're doing on the outside without the body. You sit, you get up, you run, you smile, you cry. What is it that you can do in the outside world that you cannot do in your dream? And you do it every day. It's not like once in a year you come back to this mysterious phenomenon called dreaming. As much as you're awake, you are dreaming. In fact, you're dreaming more than you're awake. Because while you're dreaming, while you're asleep, it is certain that you're not using your body. Your body is lying on the bed. So that entire, let's say if you're sleeping for 6 hours, that is completely dreaming. And throughout the day, when you're not aware of the body, when you're drifting in thoughts, you're also dreaming. If you put all that together, almost 80 to 90% of your life is dreaming. What you recognize as reality is just a strong attachment that you have to the idea called you, to the idea of your body, to the idea of being alive in this body, in this form. It is that strong attachment that is distorting the perception of life. It is making you feel that it is because you have a body, it is because you have eyes, you have ears, you have nose, you have skin, you are able to perceive the world and you're able to intelligently do something with it and move about in the world, creating things, living. If that is the case, how is it that you are able to do all this in your dreams, where there is no physicality whatsoever? At least that much we can agree, that you're not dragging your body into your dreams. It isn't there. It is simply a matter of seeing it for yourself, that there is something inside you that knows things the body knows how to do without the body. There is something inside you that has a perfect blueprint of your life, that has a perfect mechanism of accomplishing things, doing things, which has nothing to do with physicality. But it is on the inside. And you call this inside your mind, your thoughts, your dreams. And you call the outside the actual real world you're living in. Now, as long as this arbitrary separation exists between the inside and the outside, you will never be able to see who is actually seeing, who is actually perceiving. You will be eternally confused. Because if you conclude that it is your body that is seeing, then who is seeing in the dream? If you conclude that there is some other entity that knows how to see, that knows how to dream without the help of the body, then when you are awake, who is seeing things? Because there cannot be two things. At least you know this much, that deep down there is one you. There is one seamless reality. Whether you're asleep or you're awake, you are always you. You never wake up suddenly wondering who you are. It does not even take a few seconds for you to recollect this is who you are, because you are always you. Because in the dreams also you are you, the same thing is continuing and you're waking up and you're not jolted into this sudden realization, oh, what is this body? What am I doing in this body? You don't do that, because in your dream you're doing a lot of things, the very same things that you do in the outside world. That is why it doesn't surprise you. Otherwise, think about it. Every time you wake up, you should be surprised. What is this body? And where was I for the last 5-6 hours? And why these two completely different worlds? It is only in perception, in language, in description that you have separated these two worlds. Reality, through which you experience things and things experience you. Dream, where things are experiencing themselves, where you are not there. This is a completely arbitrary separation. In reality, both are a part of the same process. This contradiction, if you can turn it into a method, turn it into a technique, you can move towards enlightenment, move towards realization in a way most Buddhas even have not been able to do it. It took 9 years for Bodhidharma to become enlightened. 9 years. And what did he do? He sat and faced a wall. Of course, if you just sit and face a wall, it will take 9 years. As intelligent a man as Bodhidharma was, he simply could not make this connection. That I can use this contradictory nature of my mind and body and get to the truth. Now, how did he do it? He wanted to become still. He wanted to become silent. He knew that all agitation, all disturbance belongs to the illusion. When the disturbance disappears completely at the mental level, at the physical level, you are thrown into that seamless ocean of reality. You don't have to do anything. When the disturbance subsides, when there is not a single wave rippling the surface of your ocean, you become the ocean. It is a natural thing that just happens because your consciousness is always watching. It is never asleep. As long as there is rippling, it is watching that rippling. Because it is something different, something new compared to its original nature. So all its attention is focused on that rippling. The whole ocean is available. But if there is a paper boat floating on the ocean, the nature of consciousness is such that it keeps on watching that paper boat. And it watches it so intently that it forgets the ocean completely. That is what a human body is. It is a paper boat that has forgotten the ocean. That has assumed autonomy for itself. It is moving because of the waves. It is moving because of the ocean, but it has forgotten all about it. It is in the very nature of consciousness that suddenly if you take away that boat, that moving disturbance, new entity, immediately it becomes aware of the ocean. Because nothing is blocking its view now. And if stillness is the only thing there is to watch, you become stillness. If silence is the only thing there, you become silence. There is no division between you and silence. The division exists only because you are noisy. Your mind is noisy and you're trying to become silent. When the noise is gone, you don't experience silence, you simply become silence. Now, this is the general understanding of how to realize the truth. Become still, become silent, don't move. Spend as much time as possible sitting absolutely still. Many have become enlightened like this. But look at the sheer amount of time it takes to become enlightened like this. There is a way to drastically reduce the amount of time it takes to become enlightened. If Bodhidharma knew this method, he would have become enlightened in 3 years. You don't need 9 years. What is the method? The method is to use the disturbance and agitation of the body, agitation of the mind, as a backdrop to connect with consciousness, as a backdrop to connect with truth. So if you want to connect with silence, don't put an effort to connect with silence. Understand what noise is. Watch the noise. When there is not enough noise, create noise. Take a simple method of, let's say, a meditation for 15 minutes. Now, I'll give you two ways, two paths. One is the traditional path of meditation, where you sit for 15 minutes and try to connect with your inner silence. And then I'll give you another method. First 5 minutes, listen to some loud noise or music or something. Watch it intently. Don't crave for silence. Just ensure that you are in the present moment listening. And because there is sound, there is movement, there is sound in itself is a world altogether. Sound creates a perception of reality by itself. So it's not that hard to listen. When there is nothing to listen to, it's a challenge. Your mind drifts. But when there is something to listen to, it's much easier. So first 5 minutes, keep your entire attention on what you're listening. And then at the end of 5 minutes, suddenly let that sound stop. For a few moments, briefly, your consciousness will be stunned. Because it is so tuned to listening, it is continuing to listen, its senses are fully heightened. Suddenly, when the sound goes, it listens to silence. You might not experience this the first time or the second time, but you will experience this much quicker than in the traditional method, where you simply sit and try to connect with silence. See, if you try to connect with silence, because your nature is noise, you are fighting. You are fighting with your thoughts. Oh, I don't want to have these thoughts. Leave me alone. Oh, somebody's footsteps. Because you are striving to experience silence, by the very nature of things, even the smallest of sound is catching your attention. And it is making it harder and harder for you to connect with silence. You're only fighting. Instead, if you understand this contradictory nature of the mind and say, why search for silence? Let me develop my faculty of watching, because that is my true reality. The whole problem is, I have not watched things intently. It does not matter whether it's silence or noise, let me watch it. Let me listen. That is the only thing you have to do as a meditator. You should be available to the experience. You should designate a time, designate a place, and pick a method. Beyond this, there is nothing you have to do. You cannot create silence. You cannot create stillness. You cannot create enlightenment. Don't even try. If you try it, it will be like banging your head to the wall in the hopes of breaking the wall. It's more likely you will break your head. Because you are the opposite that is trying to realize something exactly opposite to yourself. You are the noise that is trying to connect with silence. You are the movement that is trying to connect with stillness. How can there not be any frustration when you're trying to go beyond your own nature? When you're trying to suffocate your own being? This is why meditation has been extraordinarily difficult for most people. This is why only a few rare individuals have become enlightened, because quite literally you have to fight against your own nature.